do your part. You can't help the world when you're playing around in race games saying you're black but you're really brown. Doing only for self. Mama Earth needs help, Grandma's church, even DTs need help. What can you do? Don't worry about me. Hey, you got life's chores cause of ING3. Been doing my part, building the mental arc for the Aquarian age before it start. Ask Prince Ali Mel Bay and Sister Zakina, who brought him to Toronto to wake up the sleepers. If you think not, you better go ask Daughter Griff, who's giving to yo hip-hop chakras a lift. Bobby Hemmett came too, so did Boyd Graves. Respect and love you, though you died from AIDS. Just rent a library room, don't cry for space. Who's gonna help the world? We can't escape the space. Conscious, but not cognizant. Won't stick up a pork chop, but rob his aunt. When it's time to help the world, all I hear is can't. Many of y'all are coming back as birds and ants. Trust me, I study the Buddhist and Brahmin shaman. Help the world by activating pineal carbon. DMT dripping like a leaky faucet. I help the world when I sleep, no need to force it. Just doing my best even when doing my reps. Help the world sleeping or taking my steps. When I'm wearing a fez, nationals breaking their necks to witness the renaissance. Staring in a trance. I do so much and willing to do more. Don't believe me, ask the youths from Paul McCourt. Ask the youths from Malvern and hear what they say. Ask the youths from Rexdale or ACHA.
Hang time's worse than the Willie Lynch curse. Cause I'm not coming down till I finish this verse. Demons disperse till them bite curb. Eat dirt till my feet hurt. Ashes to ashes, soon return to the earth. Stand for better and redirect the worst. Drop some knowledge on a dime beat to quench your thirst. Thanks to sus, we've remained in the game with a torch high. IHFing up another track, don't ask who or why. It's time to feed a rapper to the fire, kick and scream. The same way a spirit does when you steal a dreams. The more we want for self, the less there is for us and we. Minimal I, and let's build in community. The temperature rise now, the ice age melts away. Prophesized by KRS-One, these are the times and days. This is the cycle that I missed cause I was too young to jump in. Now I got enough artillery to keep dumping. Fire Marshal Ho Chi Minh, let me show you something. Duck for cover, shells can't stop flying. Stagger like you're drunken. We got aces round here, so keep the ones flunking. Bitch slap a whack rapper like you need some punkin'. Ho Chi Kutcher, fucking call me Simon Butcher. Commercial rapper, decapitated envelope pusher. Rapper inquisitioner, feed him to the fire. Lead him to the heat and watch the flame raise higher. Picture painted, but the spirit not tainted. See us in a pheasant, fall back like you fainted. Feels like we've been here from the ancients. Experienced so much challenges to build my patience.
Islam Moors, yeah, that was a good startup. Help the world. WillOfAllah.com. For all the haters, please don't support. Do whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? Don't leave comments and stuff. We don't care. Just go do your hater stuff over there somewhere. Just go do your dirty Moor stuff over there. Find a corner that's spreading right now. So, just to put it on the record, IHF, track that you just heard, you know what I mean? The resurrection of IHF on the Iron Sheet, right? Because IHF had retired in 2003 at this thing right here. 2003 is when we retired. When we said forget all this rapping BS. Because it doesn't make sense what's going on. It doesn't make sense that all these people who have nothing to do with hip-hop own hip-hop. From ownership, distribution, everything going all the way down. Right? So you're like, forget that BS. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing to thrive for. Just like the other brother who was, studied the music. He was doing the basketball thing. You know what I mean? And it's just BS. So you realize that you have to fend for yourself and fend for your own. It came to more science and all that. Figured, use the music, since we could rhyme and all that. You know what I mean? Just use the music, get the word out on this nationality and birthrights. And that's all it is. Ain't nothing crazy. Get the word out. Just like certain people said that we should do, make sure that people know that it's happening. It's happened. And, the boat has left the dock. And for all the swimmers, don't worry. Just don't take the breath in when your face is in the water. Make sure you turn to the side. We're here once again. Tuesday class. And we're just gonna throw some things out, because this is interesting. It's interesting that I think Brother Heru Ranisi L, Grand Governor out in Atlantis, put a picture on Facebook. The picture was Lord Jamar and the God MC, Rock M, right? The God, right? Not or whatever, the, like the one and only. And then he's sitting up there with the 5 and the 2 up. Now remember, he's the God MC now. Everybody respects and whatever, like never said a curse word and no song ever. Right? Like beyond legend. But he has a 5 and the 2 up though. Now, he's not talking to Moors when he has a 5 and 2 up. So remember, he's the God MC, right? The God MC. Right? Remember, beyond legend. Beyond that. No, can't be identified as anything. Just the God MC. And he has the 5 and the 2 up. That only certain people do. Call herself Moorish American. No. Just like the Black Power and Black Panther and New Black Panther and whatever people were, they rep Khalid, all that black stuff that he was talking about, debate Anthony Hilder and all that, kill crackers and all that stuff. And then the guy who these guys rate comes out and says that he's more, got sense enough to know that he's more and all that in these guys' face. Then the next day, they still call themselves black. How? Because they don't want to disappoint their handlers who told them that whatever they're being part of is some joining thing. and strict rules and conduct, and you better whatever. And they're not even talking about nature's laws that people are violating. They create laws and say, you can't violate that. Don't violate that. But there's superior laws. And they force the people to not think for themselves. That's why active Moors are a problem, because active Moors think. Not just have books for nothing. You have books for nothing. You have books to continue to go back to them as reference because it's facts. Because with this mindset, you're only dealing with particular books. You're not going to have books that are useless. Go find me a Moor with useless books. And we'll send you some DVDs. We'll send you a box of DVDs. If you find some Moor with useless books. Even dirty Moors have good books. Books that would trump the crap books that they have. So all these people being told by their guy who they rep. Some people might not have said that they're Moors, but they do certain symbology relative to Moors. Wear certain things relative to Moors. Just to let people know. Hey, you know. Remember, they're not talking to Moors. We already know. We've been around since 100 years. In America, we've been here. We're not some 60s thing that just came about or whatever. We're not some 30s stuff. It's been around. Making a point, stressing a point that if you continue to allow to yourself to be violated, because you allow it, don't cry to anybody. Accept whatever you get. Moors have put in so much work that these people are even coming out and going against their own stuff. Moors who've been doing the work of nationality and birthrights from 1913 to present. Regardless of all the BS that people might hear or say or whatever about Moors and Noble Drew Ali and all that, so-called colonizer, white man, the devil, Edomite, he knows what's up about Moors. That's why we put Brother Lanre, because he's credible, right? He's credible. He has a book, 27th Letters, that he wrote when he was in prison to his daughter. A book of letters that he wrote. So he's credible. He's not some nobody guy. He's somebody that ancestors look out for, because I know I'm there. I see ancestors look out for him on some supreme ones. Just because. How sincere he is. Right? So that's why we put it in the last class, in the beginning and the end. For you to know. We throw the picture of the guy so you can go check and make sure you know that he's a European and all that stuff. And you can know that out here, you know, there's a European just like everybody else and whatever like that. But he knew that over here is Morocco. He knew that. He knew. So-called white man, Edomite. You know, nah, that's not, nah, whatever. You can't say that. This, I don't know. Confirmed. For all people who say, does the white man recognize Moors? Tim Hudak. Just go look him up. And you'll see. And he knows over here is Morocco. All these people been told. I'm going to go back before anything. In the English C lesson, 1 to 36. It's far now. I came to the wilderness of North America by myself. He implies he came as a free man of his own free will. His first appearance in 1910 is said to have come in contact with Noble Drew Ali, Moorish Temple of Islam. His second coming, July 4th, 1930. All these people know about the Prophet and Noble Drew Ali and all that. They know. But because our people don't think, just that alone. Even though Drew Ali came and told them, think and save yourself, they're still not going to think because they think Noble Drew Ali is some far out whatever that has nothing to do with them. When he brought them little keys. You put this key in this lock and you open this thing and the thing suck you in. You don't know what happened. You just end up in another dimension. The new mind. Just because of some little sprinkle. Because if you told us everything, we'll go back to sleep. Right? And what did he say? I brought you everything it takes to save a nation. So, and that's why everybody's asleep. But he had to give everything because of the infiltration. He took away all the secrets. So there's no secrets. So keep in mind, he said, if I give you everything, you might even tear up the whole place. They forced his hand, and then he came out and said, I'm taking away all the secrets, giving you everything that it takes to save a nation, now take it and save yourself. And he made you the beneficiary if you say you're Moorish American. Whether you wanted it or not, it was yours. Now you do with it what you will. And many did with it what they will and made millions. Became lecturer, touring all over the place or whatever like that, on a box cart and whatever other type of mode of transportation. Going wherever. Spreading their little BS. When they know that this man is the foundation. He told the Moors that they have everything. But if he gave them everything, they would go back to sleep. What do you see right now? What do they say right now that our people are what? Sleeping, right? Okay. Prophecy manifested. Prophecy manifested. But his hand was forced. Which is why the obligation is on us to uplift fallen humanity. Okay? It's not him going to do it. He gave all the stuff to you to do what's supposed to get done. Nobody did nothing for 100 years. We're coming into finding out that we're Moors. Like people have to have children to say that they're Moorish American. Born like that. It's 2017 right now. 100 years ago, there were people born being called Moorish American. Where'd the cutoff happen where there was no Moorish Americans all of a sudden? Or there were Moorish Americans because you can't give the bay back. You know, once you claim your nationality, that's what it is. But they're just gonna, and then they're just Negroes with bay. Like Tiffy Bay. Just a Negro. Rhyming about BS or whatever, but his name is Bay. How's that guy's name Bay? Right? All these people are on there with name L and Bay and stuff like that, and they don't know what that means. But they're Bay though. The granddad's Bay and their grandma's cousins, whoever's a Bay, and they don't know about their birthright. So they're obviously somebody stopped uplifting fallen humanity. Clearly, someone had a hand in making sure humanity wasn't uplifted, because, you know, the man said he gave you everything, told you think and save yourself. All you have to do is think, save yourself. Gave you the steering wheel, and you're just sitting there with nobody in the driver's seat talking about, you know what I mean, Noble Joe Ali's coming. And then crazy guy jump in the seat, and now you're mad that they made everything look messed up. Don't get mad. Just open the door, kick this guy out the seat, and take the driver's seat back. There's people been playing with your birthright, so trying to. Everybody knows. People look at, continue to think that there's some governmental whatever going on around here. There's no governmental anything other than if you're that. Everything else is corporate policy. You're in your land, you know how to contract, you contract whatever. But, there better be something behind that contract that you're doing. That better not be just you contracting because you want to or feel that you have to. Because it's corporate policy everywhere. So, what did Noble Joe Ali say? You are a nation. If you are a nation, then you should be industrious, which, Moorish Divine and National Movement was, because they had manufacturing companies producing stuff and all that. So we're getting back to thinking, recognizing that everybody's telling us the gig is up. Everybody's telling us the fat lady has sung. Everybody's telling us the guy already took the hook and pulled the guy off the stage. The stage is yours. And Moor's standing there. There's Moors right now that would remain nameless, that are bidding on properties and stuff like that. As Moors, like as a group of Moors, they're saying, well, our friend over here said that city has all these properties and they're just sitting there and they want to get rid of them. And all you have to do is just put in a bid, and if nobody matches the bid, then you get it for whatever you bid or whatever. Right? They're not worried about driver license fraud, UCCs and all that BS. They're looking at community. They're looking at what could we do for the Moors? What could we have for the Moors? The Moors need something. Let's create it for the Moors. What people are doing, they want to create the individual stuff so they can be on top of the pedestal, the balance, so people could give them applause. But past applause time, because Noble Joe Ali took all the applause. Nobody can get any applause for anything that you do. You just need to do what you're supposed to do. No applause for you. No standing up at the lectures. Don't know. Just like Al-Haj told them, no clapping. Y'all don't think y'all been clapping long enough? What are you clapping about? How about do something? Right? Speed cameras ruled unconstitutional. City has to pay back ticketed drivers. Is there anybody who ever got speed camera ticket or whatever? Right? A group of three lawyers. Remember, keep in mind, right? What we're dealing with is thinking. So, before we even, you know what I mean? We understand that a lawyer works for them. Right? The lawyer is not an outside party. Lawyer is somebody who's on the corporate policy side of the fence, the democracy side of the fence. They're on that side. They're part of the mob. A group of three, and then keep in mind, more is science, the Trinity, right? And the three, and the pyramid, and then things that are relative to 3, 6, 9, 12, right? Keep in mind, thinking. Always looking beyond what is present, because if a picture tells 1,000 words, then what do 1,000 words tell you visually? If a picture tells words, then words will tell you something visually. So we're looking at this. We're looking at it play out as to what was done since 1913 to 1929 has had these people in a place of stagnation where they are only, all they can do is retrograde. They cannot move further. All they can do is repeat the same thing again or put a thing on it. Now it's new and improved, and then put a thing on it, and then now it's new and improved, but it's the same BS, right? Group of three lawyers filed suit in 2013 arguing that New Miami's automated ticketing ordinance gave vehicle owners no realistic opportunity to defend themselves against the demand for a payment of up to 180 notes, says, $, that arrived in the mail. The city must pay back $3,066,523 to people who were ticketed. Butler County Court of Common Pleas Judge Michael A. Osler Jr. made the ruling. If the government has created an unconstitutional law, ordinance, that has taken people's money without affording them the necessary due process protections, should not justice demand that the law require restitution of that money to the people? And that's Butler County Court of Common Pleas, Judge Michael A. Oster Jr., O-S-T-E-R Jr. Now, let's really look at them telling, right? Three lawyers filed a suit. Judge rules in favor of the three lawyers. And then remember, judge is on that side of the stuff. He's not over here. He's on that side. He's on the democracy side. He's part of the mob. He's within the mob, exposing the mob. He's part of the mob, letting people know, because remember, this is public record, so people could just go find out or whatever, that anywhere that they're doing this, giving people unconstitutional, quote unquote, bills, demanding payment but denying them due process, that's unconstitutional. Moor's been saying that. Again, think. We're not putting this on the record for you to, well, three lawyers and a judge said, no, they're part of the mob. You don't care about them. We're showing you that they're telling you the same stuff RV Bay Publications been telling you. Taj Tariq Bay been telling you. Alimel Bay been telling you. Sister Valhara Bay been telling you. Abundance Child been telling you. This is not some new stuff. Letting you know that they know. These are people on the side of the mob. Letting you know that camera tickets are unconstitutional. Period. Right? You need UCC for that. You need to file UCC 1 for that. No ticket. It's unconstitutional. Why? Because it's denying you due process. Which, that's a constitutional right. So that means that they're also standing on constitutional law, not statutes, codes, and ordinances. It's very obvious that it's over, but people are stupid. People love being idiots. So here we are. Right? That there's Moors doing this longer than I've been doing this. Before people were recording and uploading stuff, they've been doing stuff. They got stuff on tape and stuff like that right now. VHS. Been putting this word out. Exact same stuff that these people that are part of the mob are coming out and telling these people. If the government has created an unconstitutional law / ordinance. So unconstitutional law is acts, statutes, codes, / ordinances. So they covered all bases. If the government has created an unconstitutional ordinance that has taken people's money without affording them the necessary due process protections, should not the justice demand and the law require restitution of that money to the people? Oster asked at the opening of the ruling. Once the complexities of law are analyzed, the answer is simple: yes. Speed cameras have nothing to do with safety. It was to make money, and that's theft. They are the modern day highway robbers. The Ohio Supreme Court chose to not intervene because it's so obviously unconstitutional. Right? So the Supreme Court now, they just acquiesce because it's unconstitutional. What's the sense in even? That's why all your ticket stuff never makes it to Supreme Court, because it's unconstitutional. That's why no matter how much you try, they're always going to send you to the appeals court. Because the ticket's unconstitutional. So it can't be heard in the Supreme Court. Doesn't matter what the status is. What's the subject matter? Tickets? Pff, we're not even listening to that. Bring something real for us. Bring something you got kidnapped. You have to fight somebody for your life or whatever. We don't want to hear about no tickets in the Supreme Court. Standing up for rights for tickets. Those guys are unconstitutional. Those guys are unconstitutional. Supreme Court's like, hold on a second. So you want to sue some private corporation about some tickets? They wouldn't even rob you and take your 400 or whatever to file the suit. Cause they could, just because more push the point. You have a right and all that stuff. Okay, give me your 400. File the suit, throw it in the garbage. We're not even listening to this. But they said no. We're just not even going to intervene. Because there's nothing to intervene about. Because there's no case. Because it's unconstitutional. The Ohio Supreme Court chose not to intervene because it's so obviously true that it's unconstitutional. The new Miami officials tried to claim sovereign immunity. But the fact that they violated citizens' constitutional rights, the court would not grant immunity. Now remember, this is New Miami, which obviously private corporation. And so the private corporation New Miami, the officials tried to claim sovereign immunity. Corporation? How's a corporation gonna claim sovereign immunity? How's an official of a corporation gonna claim sovereign immunity? That's why it's important that when Moors talk, that they say that they are members of Moor Science Temple of America. They're not nationals of that. Because you can't be a national of a corporation. You can be a national of a nation, but don't try to be a national of a corporation. Because clearly, that's fraud. So keep in mind, man. Keep in mind that this has nothing to do with what they're saying. This has to do with the fact that Moor's been telling people this. Moor's got videos on VHS talking about this right here. Before there was even speed trap cameras. Moors were talking about watch when they bring the cameras. It's that deep. If you really take, Moor science seriously. But if you think this is just some play stuff or whatever, then hey, continue with the Negro stuff. Right? Oh. This ruling set by the court sets precedent. This ruling set by the court sets precedent and is good news for Americans all across America. As a side note, many of the cameras are giving tickets to people who turn on red without stopping for 3 seconds. The law says you have to stop, not stop for 3 seconds. So go check that one. Speed cameras ruled unconstitutional. City has to pay back ticketed drivers. So remember, they told you, this ruling set by the court sets precedent. Precedent. That cameras that take a picture of your stuff and then send it in the mail, if you pay, you're a fool. Because it's unconstitutional. You're a fool if you pay. If a yellow thing just appears on your windshield and you don't know where it came from, you're a fool if you pay. Because it's unconstitutional. The old 3-second rule, right? Right? Now everybody's telling, keep in mind what? Thinking, right? Ben Carson calls slaves immigrants during speech. They got him mad. Brother May, they got him mad. They got him mad. Let's see how they deal with this one. They got him mad. You guys are funny. Someone please go get Uncle Ben. He's out there making an ass of himself again. One of the most renowned surgeons in the history of America, who is now the head of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, was giving a speech to staff when he referred to slaves as immigrants. That's what America is about. A land of dreams and opportunity, Carson said. There were other immigrants who came here in the bottom of slave ships, working even longer, even harder for less. So far, with this dumbass administration, the Secretary of Education has claimed that the historically black colleges and universities were the real pioneers in school choice, and now we have the Secretary of HUD referring to slaves as immigrants. What's next? No, really, what's next? What's next is those vaporization chambers that they talk about. Executive Order 11490, King Alfred Plan. Since you guys like to crowd around during executive orders with the president, smile and get your photo ops and thing. Make sure the hair is going down so you can see the makeup job and stuff. Right? What's next? All you people classified as black that have any type of position in any type of U.S. government or whatever, your head's getting taken off first. Why? Because you're a sellout and you're an agent against your own people. But even though, you know what I mean, they're on that side of the fence, letting them know. Because black guys are mad. Like, what's he saying? He's saying that black guys didn't come here on slave ships, because clearly black guys aren't immigrants. Right? Like, so, but somebody were immigrants that was in the boat on the bottom of ships. But it wasn't the black guys. And if it wasn't the black guys, it could only be the white guys. There's only two races, the black guys and the white guys. And if the black guys weren't the ones that were brought over here on slave ships as immigrants, then it has to be the immigrants who are really the immigrants, which are the Europeans, the modern Europeans. And Ben Carson telling them the same stuff that Moor's been telling these people. For the past how many ever years, Moor's been saying the exact same thing. The exact same thing. Right? U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Head guy. But no, he's Uncle Tom or whatever, because, you know, the black guys weren't immigrants on the slave ship because the black guys lost in the sauce. Lost in the sauce. The greatest swindle in Canadian history. Toronto exists because of one of the biggest swindles, by Mick Sweetman, M-I-C-K, Sweetman. Toronto exists because of one of the biggest swindles you can think of. In 1787, the British Crown first made what was known as the Toronto Purchase from Mississaugas, who were the indigenous peoples in that region. Now keep in mind there's a area around here called Mississauga. Right? There's an area around here called Mississauga. But in 1787, there was a people called Mississaugans that were the indigenous people of this region that they call today Toronto. That prior to that, it was called Toronto. TKORONTO. And then that meant the meeting place or the gathering place, which is why Toronto is such a multicultural and everybody has to come here to do this stuff, because that's what it is, the meeting place. That's just what it is. There's nothing, you know what I mean? That's the ritual that was put down. This is where everybody met, so we called it Toronto. And everybody still meets here. But all this is Aboriginal, indigenous culture on this side, right? However, this was no tidy real estate transaction. The deed for the original purchase was left blank. The exact size of land was unclear, and the names of Mississauga chiefs were attached to it by a separate piece of paper. Payment for this dubious purchase was some small arms and tobacco. So, you know, just so people can recognize, realize, understand. Same stuff we've been telling people. That would, how come you don't talk about Canada? And because it's the same stuff. It's one jurisdiction, Morocco, that these people were going up and down pillaging. There's no separation. No Canada and U.S. Those are private corporations. Don't listen to these crazy Moors telling you about those aren't corporations here. Trust me, they're corporations. We're here. We know. They make it blatantly obvious here that they're corporations. They don't hide. Like we showed you the tickets. They put it on the tickets. The corporation of the city of whatever. They're not secret about it. Right? And remember, progressive conservative Hudak said he knows this is Morocco. Right? Keep in mind. We're talking about 1787, right? 1700s, remember. When you do the timeline, you always go Article 11, right? Articles of Confederation, letting you know that Canada's part of over there. That's what it is. If people want to play like it's not and separate, then hey, that's on them. Do whatever it is that you do. Continue to live in the world of illusion. But the reality is one jurisdiction. January 1794, Governor General Dorchester wrote a letter to John Simcoe, the Lieutenant Governor of Upper Canada, stating that the blank deed was of no validity and called it an omission which will set aside the whole transaction and throw us entirely on the good faith of the Indians for just so much land as they are willing to allow. In December 1974, Dorchester wrote to Alexander McKee, then the Deputy Superintendent General of Indian Affairs, saying proceedings are so informal and irregular as to invalidate and set aside the whole transaction, and that the deed itself is of no validity or value. Swindle of epic proportions. Toronto exists because of a swindle of epic proportions. It took another 205 years for the Mississaugas of the New Credit First Nation to reach a settlement with the Government of Canada on their obvious claim that proper compensation was not paid for the land. In 2010, a landmark negotiated settlement saw the federal government pay $144 million to settle the land claim of the Toronto Purchase. The amount was based on what was considered a fair price for the land in 1805, extrapolated to $2010. 1805? What dollars they talking about in 1805? Not talking about paper. Not talking about give you the big cardboard and then you just smile at the cardboard. Yeah, we got the check. This is how big our payout is. We have to hold the check with two hands. Right? That's not what this is. Okay? They extrapolated it to $2010 and said $144 million. But they weren't dealing with dollars back then. And the jurisdiction of Toronto is not small. Just check. You know what I mean? This is prime real estate. Because it's on the water. And if you have ships, you're good. Speaking to CBC Radio, Pamela Palmater, academic director of the Center of Indigenous Governance at Ryerson University, said, "Think about it this way. Say you had a First Nation of 5,000 band members and there's a small contingency who want to make a deal with Enbridge to have a pipeline go across a community and the majority didn't want to have that. Well, you can now set up a vote to surrender a piece of the reserve land to allow a pipeline to go through by those handful of people." Palmer nails the essence of what's happening today and how it's the same as 200 years ago. Only instead of a profitable fur trade, Canadian and international corporations are salivating at the prospect of new mineral, oil, and gas resources from Northern Ontario's Ring of Fire, quote unquote, to the expansion of the oil sands in Northern Alberta. Treaties are constitutionally protected. Keep in mind, about 2/3 of reserves in this country were set up via treaties. Those treaties are constitutionally protected. Now, keep in mind, Walter Kuhl, Walter, Kuhl, the country without constitution. So how are treaties constitutionally protected in a jurisdiction where they don't have a constitution? It can under fraud, which is what the whole quote-unquote Toronto Purchase is about. Because in order for them to even get this far, it's based on these so-called treaties that they say are quote-unquote unconstitutional or are constitutionally protected, when in reality they're unconstitutional and they don't protect, which is why they were able to pull off the swindle, because the treaties are a fraud. Because all these Aboriginal people even were supposed to be going back to the treaty. But nah, they want to be the guys who work out the whatever with the colonizer. And setting up treaties that aren't even, they don't even have authority. Because they're not the indigenous people. They're part Chinese or whatever. They're trying to do treaties in land that's not theirs. With some other people who's in land that's not theirs. Right there, automatically right there, treaties fraud. Which null and voids the treaty. Right? No different than these people have whatever instruments which allows them to come into their communities and do craziness to them. Because they signed up for it. They contracted for it. Didn't have to contract. Chose to. They thought you were getting a benefit. Thought they had something for you. Then Moor came and gave you back everything that it takes to save a nation. Told you take it and save yourself. Right? Noble Drew Ali said, don't throw away the slave name. Because you're going to use that to prove that those people were doing human trafficking. Because you're not that slave name. But you're going to hold it as evidence. And then people take him talking about being paid in compounded interest and tying that to file some UCC. They say Noble Drew Ali condoned UCC because he said we're going to get paid in compounded interest, and then the slave name has a bond on it that's okay. So it's bonded and you can, all right. One of the things again that we're talking about was the theme of making sure if you say that you're a Moor or whatever, like you better be thinking. If you're not thinking, you're gonna have serious problems. Because there's a deliberate game being played with people's mind. Right? It's a game being played with people's mind. Now, this instrument is quote unquote bonded and is said to make the individual who has it a creditor. Right? So we're gonna read an article, which again, you know what I mean, it probably hasn't been read onto the record, but it's been out, you know what I mean, and it's been on RV Bay Publications forever, you know, and it speaks to the place where we should be in our mindset, right? And again, just like when we, you know, Rockham putting up the 2 and the 5, we're not talking to Moors. Like, I'm not talking to Moors who know this already, right? You know, this is for the individuals who really think that, like, for example, we had people who, you know, because we know that it's because of some benefit BS that they found out from somebody else, but you know what I mean? They're taking positions of, you know, leaving the temple because, you know, they heard that, you know, we're holding people to contracts and they heard this and that and they heard stuff, and it's because of this thing that's out there. that you can pay somebody to do what you're supposed to be doing for your damn self, but because your ass is lazy and you don't want to study, you know, you just want to sit around on your fat ass and or skinny ass or whatever and let somebody do the stuff that you should be doing when you're the one that, right? So people want freebies. Can't be a freebie wanter and be a national. Like you can't be a freebie wanter and be a national. It doesn't work like that. Can't want benefits. So this is not about benefits. This is about beneficiary. It's not about benefits. It's not about do something to get something. This is about you already have everything. What are you gonna do with what you got? You mean can't whatever? What do you mean? Right? So regarding UCCs by Taj Tariq Bey, keep in mind that the commercial codes essentially and factually means codes for trafficking and to carry on trade. My first question to you is, do you have a clear understanding of what birthrights and unalienable rights are? Are you aware that unalienable rights cannot be transferred to or sold to another? Commercial codes did not become uniform until about 1968, with Texas State Republic officials bowing to pressure and agreeing to play the state of Texas fraud game for commercializing or trading the natural people's rights in collusion with the other compromised state officials and politicians. So when they say the straw man and claim the straw man, and once you have claim of the straw man, then you can be the holder in due course and file these papers in order to be. What is missed is that the agreement was not to make the people property. The agreement was to take the people's rights, which makes them property. The agreement was to block people from exercising their rights. And in the fact that them not being able to exercise the right, that's what makes them property. So essentially, when you file a UCC, you're not claiming the all capital letters name or the bond or whatever. It's a right that was stolen. It's a right that was attempting to be transferred or sold. But you can't do that with inalienable rights. You can't take a right and make it into a crime. That's why that's unconstitutional. Because it's a right. So they're not claiming the being. They're not claiming the name. They're filing a UCC to claim a right under the guise that they think that they're claiming the name. Then they play themselves, because clearly you don't know what the hell you're talking about if you're going to claim the right when all you have to do is proclaim your nationality if you want the right. If you want the right to discharge debts, nationality. It's not something, some number from them that's going to make you be able to do that. It's going to be everybody being on one accord, having the same type of demonstration of how this thing is supposed to be done, and it being done en masse. En masse, everybody gets the same tags and puts them on at the same time en masse, what, you really think they're going to stop everybody? Which is why the whole point is uplifting fallen humanity. Because you need to raise the people, especially the women, in order to get them to the mindset to even recognize that they don't need to file UCC 1 to be free from colonizer. You're going to take the instrument that they created and you're going to use your nationality and birthright and get it authenticated, which is giving it the authority that it didn't have initially when it was just their stuff. Right? Because remember, it's a right. It's not the name that they're claiming. It's the right that was abridged. It's the right that was cut off from them. Remember, because they can't steal the right. They can't sell it. They can't, but they can put a roadblock between you and it, so you don't have access to it. Then that way it's not them, it's the roadblock. But then if you know how to clear the roadblock, then you know you get the right. Noble Jawali cleared the roadblock. But no, don't say that you're black, because if you say that you're black, you're putting yourself behind the roadblock. Then you're not gonna have the right, and then they're whipping you and you can't do nothing about it. Like Carter G. Woodson said, you know, you're gonna cut your own back door. Of your own house, on your own land, and then say people are racist. Right? I suggest you study and enforce the Constitution for the United States Republic of North America and enforce the laws relative to your nationality and birthrights. Also keep in mind that the Constitution for the United States of America is the supreme law of the land and is derived from ancient Moorish jurisprudence. U.S. demo politicians, educators, and many other corporate persons operating at North America are members of the demos, are subversives and against the Constitution, have no allegiance to the Republic. They do not want you or any other Aboriginal or citizens to be cognizant of this binding fact. Verily, many of the officers of the various ministerial courts, tribunals not constitutionally sanctioned are traitorous racketeers who are working together with others to rob and to steal from the natural people. Right? Keep in mind. Keep in mind. If the government has created an unconstitutional law ordinance that has taken people's money without affording them the necessary due process protections, should not that justice demand and the law require restitution of that money? Once the complexities of the law are analyzed, the simple answer is yes. Speed cameras have nothing to do with safety. It was to make money and it's theft. They are the modern day highway robbers. Verily, many of the so-called officers of the various ministerial courts, tribunals not constitutionally sanctioned are traitorous racketeers who are working together with others to rob and steal from the natural people. They are using their bought and sold seats in government to enforce fraudulent private color of law and systematically connive to substitute the supreme law of the land with their foreign corporate policies and ordinances. Foreign corporate policies and ordinances is what you are dealing with once they are not saying the Constitution is the law that binds us. If they're telling you acts, codes, ordinances, statutes, bylaws, They're not constitution. They're not really constitutionalists. They're probably these fraudulent people, foreign corporate policies that have absolutely nothing to do with the Aboriginal indigenous people. Anybody else? I don't know, because I'm not them. I don't know what they got to do with these people. But as far as Aboriginal indigenous people are concerned, right? They are foreign to us. They are foreign to us. This is at the root of most of the common people's economic problems and the current lack of due process. Railroading that is used to feed the penal industry. And then just go check Prison Industrial Complex, Angela Davis, so you can take into high consideration. This is at the root of most of the common people's economic problems and the current lack of due process, railroading that is used to feed the penal industry. So all these little tickets and stuff like that is really to feed the penal industry. So they have their court fees and stuff like that. Right? Many of the politicians and judges of the ministerial courts have invested interest in these profitable domestic prisoner of war camps / prisons and jails. These anti-republic institutions and the colorable acts of these officers are constructed to cause injury and to place their fraud-based and non-substantive implied contract originating debts upon the natural people. When you look up debt instrument, you find out that a debt instrument can be a bond. A bond could be a debt instrument. Now, if some people who are in debt say, we're gonna start making people slaves by putting their name on this bonded paper and then monetizing it and then having the people think that they're free, but they're really slaves to us through this bonded paper stuff that we created and we put our seal on it, and then now that makes it official. And then today people go in and claiming that, and that's a debt instrument. How are you going to be a secured party creditor in a debt system? Now, if you file a UCC and they say they're going to give you $1 billion of silver or something like that, I'm with you. But that bonded whatever is a debt instrument. That seal that they have on that gives that authority is fraud. How they get a seal when they're foreigners here? They're not the Aboriginal and Indigenous people here. How they have a seal over here? Unless it's the seal that, goes with Constitution, down the line, treaty, but they're not saying republic. The guys who made the birth certificates are democracy guys. Those aren't republic people. Those are democracy people. So democracy people said, we're going to make a card, make people slaves, and monetize it. And then you, saying that you're more and you're higher mind and all that stuff, you're going to go claim that debt instrument? When your prophet came and told you that when these Europeans leave here, mountains of gold will be revealed to the Moors, well, how are they going to leave if you just brought them into a contract? How are you going to leave? You just gave them more time here. Thanks. Thanks for giving them how much ever more years here. Because now you just contracted yourself to them, right? You know. Now they have a reason to be here in order to contract with you, with this stupid debt instrument. Not even contracting on nothing real. And if it really is that real, show me the money. Say it. Show me the money. Louder. Just show me the money. Don't show me stuff that you got. No, I want to see whatever it is that this credit stuff that you got. Don't show me the stuff that you got with the credit stuff. I don't want to see the stuff. I want to see the credit thing. Right. The natural people, the Aboriginal indigenous people, have to remember that it's dummy treaties, quote unquote, adhesion contracts is what got us in this mess that we're in the first place. The adhesion contracts, or the fake treaties. When all the black guys always bring up, the white man don't respect no treaties. Yeah, because all those treaties are fake. Why would they be respected? The treaties that they're referring to aren't the treaties that these people are being held to, because they can't hold themselves to the treaty. You have to hold them to it. They can't. Why would they be a colonizer and hold themselves to their obligation? And then we're not saying, well, let's hold them to the obligation then, if they're not going to hold themselves to it. Like, why don't we just do it? Oh, because the prophet said that, and nobody wants to go with what he says. You know what I mean? They want to go with what the reincarnated or the supreme grand whoever says. Playing around with the statutes and the ordinances and whatever stuff again. Keeping this beast thing going. Because 99% of the time, they're not reserving their rights anyways when they contract with these people. They're just doing it because it's convenient. You know what I mean? And yeah, we get it, but at least reserve your rights on it. And then when you reserve your rights and you get the unlimited account or whatever, go pay off all these people in Section 8 stuff. Go pay off all their rent for 50 years. Since you got unlimited whatever. Anybody above the age of 50 living in some BS housing or whatever, take your unlimited whatever and pay off all those people's stuff so they can have a life. How about do that? Instead of just getting stuff for your own selfish self. You're not even saying do something for Moors. They don't even care. Just do something for the unfortunate people that live over the street from you. That you got unlimited comp, you got new computer, you're discharging debts and all this type of stuff, and then grandma can't even get some medication. Talking about, yeah, you're doing something, you're sovereign, whatever. Now you do something with it. If it's that real. If it's that real, anybody who ever got the $50 billion credit, whatever, that clearly you don't have that much debt. So what the hell are you doing with all that? Or you didn't do nothing for the community? Everything you did just for yourself or whatever, or your little 1-2 people around you or whatever? You got 60 trillion credit? And you didn't pay off the world's debt? You didn't pay off everybody's debt. Selfish ass. And we know. You know, we got told about these people. We got told about these same people, these same opportunistic people. Trying every weak mind. Every weak mind is going to get tried. Right? That's why the man said study, 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 so you don't get played. Once you study, you can't get played because you'll see these people coming from a mile away. Right? People tell me crazy stuff about they paid $1,000 and stuff like that for certain stuff from certain people. I'm like, you're an idiot. Like, they really got you in there? 500? Let me see that paperwork right there. 500 for this? You pay 500 for this. You didn't read this before you got this, or you just were trying to seek a benefit? Trying to come into the Moorish thing because, yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, I want to be a Moor, you know what I mean? So, and then 2 months later, yeah, I'm trying to get this, writ so I can discharge it. $50 billion, the IRS said, because, you know what I mean? I had a little situation, and the situation was kind of, you know what I mean? Right? Don't let these people fool you out of your birthright. Mobudrawali came for a reason. Just to teach us the truth about our nationality and birthrights and our divine creed. He came to bring those stuff to us. He came to bring that for us. Right? Let me check to see if it's in there. We have to realize the greatness of him inspiring certain people to continue the lessons, continue the lesson that we are not Negro, black, colored. We're not these people's property. You don't need a UCC for that. You don't need to file some papers with some European to not be black or not be tied to the birth certificate. Those stuff are void instruments. They're debt instruments. It's a debt, bankrupt, insolvent corporation that created those instruments. How are they having credit somewhere? You're not gonna claim the straw. Just take your energy back and put your energy where it's supposed to go to. You forcing the energy. Right? Creed, Black's Law, 4th edition. The word creed has been defined as confessions or articles of faith, formal declaration of religious belief, any formula or confession of religious faith, a system of religious belief, right? Articles of faith. Articles of faith. You know, what are we using to get to fruition? Islamism. Right? The religion. But to exercise that religion, you better have a nationality, because religion is a constitutional and inalienable right that nobody has jurisdiction over. And then keep in mind that he's telling you divine is before creed. So don't look at this. He says religion there and belief. Make sure you put divine before those. Because he said divine creed, not just creed, like what it says here, creed. You have to take divine and attach that to creed. Which we might as well just go to the metaphysical and see what divine's in here. Because no divine. Alright. So, you know, you just go to the regular dictionary, look up divine, and that's where you're going with the idea of divine creed that Noble Drew Ali brought. Nobody else brought you that. Nobody else said, here's the divine creed, which is one of the things that you need in order to be a nation. You need to have that. So you put all the little pieces in place for the Moors. And your own took your birthright. And they're still trying to put you in slavery. They're telling you, leave the Moor Science Temple of America. Take back your membership because we're holding you to adhesion contracts. And telling you to go authenticate the birth certificate. You pay them $500. When it costs them $1,500 to do the... Oh, also keep in mind for the people who are in Canaanland, you wouldn't be filing a UCC in Canaanland. They would make sure that you file the PPSA. So if they're in Canaanland and they're telling you UCCs, they're playing it. Why? Because when you file the UCC from Canada, you're admitting that those two corporations are working together. Because the Uniform Commercial Code is for trade. The Uniform Commercial Codes, it's like, these anti-republic institutions and the colorable acts of these officers are constructed to cause injury and to place their fraud-based and non-substantive implied contract originated debts upon the natural people. Now that they, European occupiers, are aware of the natural people becoming aware of the truth about nationality and birthrights, some of them have been promoting the use of the Uniform Commercial Codes as a remedy for attaining sovereignty. Logically, anyone and everyone should be educated in the areas of contract law, due to the fact that we contract every day in some form or another, whether we are interchanging with others, when we are interchanging with others. However, I will remind you and others to recognize the integrity of the nation, that the sovereignty that many of the Europeans are arguing over is not their own, but is actually the sovereign rights of the Aboriginal and indigenous Moors, whom the Europeans have colonized and usurped. The misrepresenting Europeans are debating among themselves with their corrupt rulers, who have, in cabal with them, robbed the Moors of their lands and their birthrights. This land, Amexem, Africa, Americas, is not Europe, and the sovereign powers over the land and resources are not theirs and never was theirs to possess nor claim jurisdiction over. Their claims are all of a corporate fiction character, artificially created on paper and fraudulently propagated to the world. Their success has root in blind faith and fiction altogether. Their success has root in blind faith. The root in blind faith. These individuals has root in blind faith and fiction altogether, because they're chasing after the weak-minded people, which is why it is up to us to put this information out so they don't have a choice of finding out the truth about their nationality and birthrights. They're not supposed to be a choice. As soon as they research Moors, it's supposed to be about nationality and birthrights. Off the bat, nothing else. It's supposed to be nothing else, just that. Now people have to filter to try to get to this. And others who are teaching from these perspectives. They have to filter through BS. That majority of them, they don't have, you know what I mean? Don't got the courage in them. So they're going to turn back and go the other direction. Because they're not for the fight of what it means to really liberate our people. What it really means. Like what did El Hajj really die for? What did grandson die for? What did Dr. Sebi die for? Like what were they standing up for? You know what I mean? They knew what was up. Not that they didn't know what was up. They knew what was up. Why? They still did what it is that they did. Because somebody's gonna get these messages. This is gonna touch someone. That one individual might be the one that catches everybody. That one individual might be the one that's gonna influence the ones that we need in order to push this thing over the hill. Right? Their success has root in blind faith and fiction altogether. The present fiat corrupted fake economic political conditions, the defrauding of the people of the United States and the world, etc., arises from their foul, entrenched inquisition policies. They know this and work diligently to keep these Masonic secrets from you, the rightful heirs. Their inner working conflicts over our silver, gold, and commerce reflects a truth that the divided and conniving thieves among them are bickering over ill-gotten booty and prize spoils, and are seeking moral arguments over escheated hereditaments. Let this first be made clear to all Moorish Americans. This is your lost estate. The land, the gold and silver, and the commerce belong only to the true primogeniture heir citizens of the land and them alone. Nationalize. As for the UCCs, know that Section 8 and Section 2 relates to those important aspects which govern securities. Most of the people who sell UCC packages to the unstudied among us, the weak minds, usually fail to emphasize this important fact. They will usually put highlights on Section 1 and 3. However, always remember this. A UCC 1 is to be filed only by the one who in commerce already has a valid contract in the first instance. If this is not the precondition, then one has just created the jurisdiction of commercial trade of self, which is not the intended outcome of the chosen UCC initiated action. Once again, a UCC 1 is to be filed only when one who in commerce is a UCC 1 is to be filed only by one who in commerce already has a valid contract in the first instance. You don't have a valid contract because your signature is nowhere on that birth certificate. The signatures on the birth certificate are Registrar General or Attorney General and some other quote-unquote office of the corpse. They're the signatories, not you. You never signed it. So you're not part of the contract. Period. If this is not the precondition, then one has just created the jurisdiction of commercial trade of self, which is not the intended outcome of the chosen UCC initiated action. So the purpose of the UCC 1 is to claim property. That's why the process in Canada is called PPSA, Personal Property Securities Act. Because what you're really doing is claiming property. Not claiming a name, claiming property. But again, remember that what they did is they escheated the right. They can't take the land. It's the right of use of the land is what they escheated. And then they exercise their claim based on them having made a claim that nobody refuting, because they're filing UCCs to refute the claim. You're going on the fraud side. You realize these guys are running fraud in the card game, and then you're continuing with the game. But you know that they're running fraud, but you're still playing. And you're still playing. But they're running fraud, but you're still playing. And they realize that you don't know the truth about your nationality and birthrights. So We'll be the office. Send some more people. Yeah, well, yeah, tell them all, come on down. We'll authenticate the birth certificate. Why not? It's keeping us here longer. It's giving us a home. Get off this birth certificate stuff. There's no benefit. The individuals who get the millions become selfish and they get locked up forever. I wish I had the names, but I don't know the names. But I know that there's a case in New York where the judge ruled that the fact that you were able to whatever the process and actually receive, and then he said whatever the number was, but you didn't do anything for the community. That's callous disregard for, something with humanity or whatever, because they're playing the whole Moors file UCC, whatever, BS, and hit them with some 35 years or something like that, just because they played glutton. They were parading around, had houses and all that stuff. Nobody's not saying UCC don't work, but know that it's a ritual. And 99% of you have a price to sell your soul. Trust. 99% of you have a price. 99% of the people have a price. There's a number that somebody could give them that they'll give up the booty in order to have the whatever it is that is being offered. Don't give up the booty. You have a nationality and birthrights. That's worth more than anything that anybody could give you. There's nothing that anybody can give you worth more than your nationality and birthrights. Nothing. Nothing that they can sell you that's worth more than your nationality and birthrights. Trust that. Trust that. This is from Najwa Veronique Kawael. This information was pulled down from a website, but luckily it was saved and copied in its entirety. You pulled this info up when we first spoke on the phone, but never looked any further into it. I recommend looking into this as a research source for understanding what's up. The creators do not want this info out in the public, therefore use caution in how and who it is shared with. I suggested printing it out as a study guide to verify if it is a good resource tool. Check out the information. I hope you can use this material. Allah made it possible. We printed it out, recommend and suggest doing the same on your end. Highly valuable information, Islam. But there's nothing in there, so we'll get a confirmation on what the actual info is and put that out. Hidden in plain sight. Islam Moors. My name is Gibraltar L. Bay from Canaanland, Ontario Territory. My father transitioned when I was 11 years old, and for as long as I can remember, he had this library of books called the New Book of Knowledge from 1978. It's an encyclopedia collection, and each book is listed alphabetically. Like the book with the letter H only has things in it that start with H and so on. I used to read them as a child but lost track of them when we moved from Fleming Park to Scarborough. The other day I found them buried in the basement and started to skim through them for nostalgic reasons. So I grabbed the letter M and started to read. Mali has an image of a Moor with a fez on. Then I skipped to Morocco and it has two Moors in the image with fezzes on, and all I could think was, damn, this book has been in front of me since I was a baby. The opening paragraph of Morocco starts out like this. The Kingdom of Morocco is known as Maghrib al-Aqsa in Arabic, which means land of the farthest west. LOL. I had to sit back and absorb that one. Again, I'm thinking, damn, these books were in front of me the whole time. Further in it states, and I quote, the first thing many school children learn is the Quran, the Muslim holy book. Not Quran, but Quran, Islam to that. My father used to work in a manufacturing company and produced many plastic product bags, toys, containers, etc. He used to bring home these plastic bags, and on the bag it has the DuPont number 707. One day I was doing random number searches, finding a number in your house, look it up in a book and see what's on the page. I used the DuPont number from one of the bags my dad brought home from when I was a child. In his dictionary, page 707, and under that number I found the word Moor and its definition. Moor, or M-O-R, one of a Muslim people of mixed Berber and Arab descent inhabiting northwest Africa. Man. Indian Muslim. Morcos. Indian Muslim. Moros, inhabitant of Mauritania, a region of North Africa. Like Grand Sheikh said, that was no coincidence. Looking back, my father used to make me go to these work picnics once a year. And growing up in the hood, I always remember these picnics because they were on a farm ranch up north. Everyone was a European and we were the only dark-skinned folks out there. At night, they would start these huge bonfires and sit around telling stories. Honors to Prophet Noble Drew Ali and all true faithful Moors. Peace and love. And then, so next class we'll show the pictures of we'll show the pictures from the book. Let's mark that to unread. Yeah, we'll print that out for the next one. Special, what is this? Moorish. Oh, I think that was a writ or something. Somebody sent. All right. You cannot run from the straw. However, you can choke it. This is probably what is meant when Juali said not to get rid of it. He didn't say to use it because he said to do all new business in your new name. whether annexed with Bay or L, indicating you are now under your Moorish nation and the status. He said not to get rid of it because it is proof of usurpation of the natural people, to deny them from their inheritance. As an example, if you are going to the nations to report infractions, you must be of a nation, otherwise you cannot speak. This is what happened to Ralph Bunche back in the 60s or so. Everyone thought he wasn't allowed to speak at the UN because of prejudice towards Negroes. However, that was not the case. Negroes are not of a nation. Reparations is for repairing a nation, of which that cannot happen for Negroes, coloreds, blacks, etc. However, the nation already exists, and that is why Noble Drew Ali proclaimed it for us. I guess that is why he said, I declare you are a nation. He did the work and made the proclamation official. Now we have to make the declaration. His statement regarding us of the slave or straw name has been misinterpreted and misrepresented. This misrepresentation is due to the lack of studying as he advised. He said, study, study, study. And when you have studied well and would ask me what to study next, I would reply, study yourselves. Many have also misunderstood the so-called capturing of the straw and have taken it out of its proper legal and lawful context, wherein they have placed liens on it and have copyrighted it. This is not a good thing, because you ought not to copyright something that is not yours. The birth certificate is a negotiable instrument against the straw construct. However, it is not the record of the straw construct. The record was established at the birth of the child. You are never given the birth record. Another reason why you cannot destroy it, own it, or capture it. You are always given a copy of the certificate, of which a certificate implies a negotiable financial instrument. This is why it is important that mothers' parents have knowledge of this and refrain from accepting these instruments against their child, as they are selling their own children into bureaucratic slavery without knowing it. You are always given a copy. You're always given a copy. So, if that bond is a copy, aren't you committing fraud if you're claiming? But didn't we say that the bond is a debt instrument? Yeah, it's a debt instrument because it's a copy. And if you're talking about billions of dollars and stuff like that, you should probably have the original. And these people aren't going to give up the original because they already sold the original to China and stuff like that, and they still never brought the debt down. Because they never paid. So the debt keeps getting bigger. And then they're only paying on interest. And China's like, you guys keep playing your little game over there about, paying debts or whatever like that, and we'll just buy that Land Rover company right there, and we'll buy that Lake Corporation, and we'll buy that River Corporation over there, and yeah, because law is specific. And you want to say peace to President Sylvanus Wilson Jr. for calling out the HBCU. I think he got fired too. I think they let him go this week or something like that. But want to give honors to him for calling out the fraud of the HBCUs. One of the, I think 65 or 85 out of 100 of these schools that were down with the whole, Trump giving them funds. And, just like we're taught, MHHS history school, make sure you keep a paper trail. And he used the paper trail to tell them, well, hey, if Obama in his first 6 years gave more money to the colleges than Bush in his last 6 years, but the amount that Trump is saying isn't even the amount that Obama did in his 6 years, then why are we even talking about, why are we talking about this for? What do you mean executive order for what? You ain't giving us nothing. You're giving us less than, you're supposed to at least start at the line where the last guy left off the amount or whatever. Right? So it's just interesting. So don't forget, 9:30, Eyes Wide Open, blogtalkradio.com, blogtalkradio.com/MHHS-Eyes Wide Open. Call-in number 347-945-5899. We got a new number, so I guess stuff is picking up. So we got two numbers now. So 425-569-5201, 425-569-5201. Now, I don't know how Blog Talk thing works or whatever like that, but if it is a situation where, something has to be paid for that, know that that's where your finance is going when you buy books and stuff. People aren't pocketing it and buying Benzes and stuff like that. Okay? They're actually using it to pay for whatever expenses that they got in trying to uplift fallen humanity. Right? Now, don't get me wrong, there's some people that's pocketing stuff and, they're not, what I mean? But the ones that been putting in the work, the ones that got the track record, just like we said, they showed the track record of the stuff, and the ones that got the paper trail, they're doing this so you can have your nationality and birthrights. 9:30 p.m. 425-569-5201. 347-945-5899. Alright.
So I just want to get you in. What? I'm Rockets. Who says we ain't in the building? Who says we ain't into building? We the Moors, master masons, architects for your children, reppin' Friday 13th like Jason, without the killing. But we promote life, it's all about the feeling. And we invoke light, we them light beings. Though you might see him on the block getting his portion, might be talking to cops, giving them caution. Occasionally wearing his fez when he's walking, see the turning heads, whispering, gawking. But he's locked in, and he's zoned out, while we boxed in our own house.
We study the mystics, the adepts, the magi. Wisdom of the ancients can all calcify eyes. Possible mission, free mental numbness. Extract the substance, rid minds of dumbness. Use the source, don't care what some purport. As we know by being told man knows not. Many before the floor, souls got bought. Placed in the devil's hands, ruling the seven lands. To dogma rituals, negro spirituals. Brainwash subliminal, keeps thinking to a minimal. They still criminal, in a world digital so pitiful. Mental survival so critical, it's visible. Can you see past writers' blocks? Hashtag zombies with waves of cyber thoughts. No need for cell phones, they speak through saw palms. It's nothing for alarm, chips and forearms.
Wind, brass and bass, such a beautiful serenade. Women feeding me grapes, I'm feeding the these serenades. Whether the sky is clear or gray, rain when you hear a fake, giving life to seeds, speaking through who not here today. Show you the future in a glimpse. We can always look to these hoes like hallucinatory pimps. Sun walked the desert, been more ever since I found God. Look back, used to see his prince. Forget being a prince, I'm a G. OD, grown man, no Jody. Deny it, you don't know me. Don't make me tap into the old me. That's like a couple hundred years. Walk around town with a couple hundred peers and release the peace of up fears. The sun gon' shine, so what tears? This young brother here just trying to get his third eye clear.
Ish, deep, Moors don't sleep. Invest in your mind and body and unleash. Real life rap, spitting over tracks. Conscious thinking and living and then attack. Ish, deep, Moors don't sleep. Invest in your mind and body and unleash. Real life rap, spitting over tracks. Conscious thinking and living and then attack.
So as the moon sets, the sun takes its place as goons on blocks, inspired spots, filled spaces. Peel back, rats, who got cases. Fire stain the corridors of flemo faces. Game changers, rule benders and no pretenders. Style lenders, channel my vibe through the vibrant optic lenses. Send a message to our veterans, soldiers up and get it in. We on our verge, we emerge subliminal beings. Third eye seeing, still a participant unwilling.
They wanna break me, shape, bait, grade me. Rolling with my main G, double O-M-B. S-O-N is crazy. For a minute that you think you could take me for a fool, like a native to his land, being schooled by a foreign dude. You've mistaken me, spiders on the roof, in the dark tools. Have you saying you've mistaken me? You better move or I'll mark it. My weapon is my tongue, your existence to target. Revealing all lies and deceit on the market. Genocide carried out in pockets, I knock it down, bulldozer. David to Goliath, it's an exposure. Some big cats ruling and it's getting closer to your downfall. Round up all your soldiers.
Little homie, I was seeking a fortune, tired of misfortune. I just wanted a portion, everything that I never had, though I needed my portion. Blowing like porcelain, haters fragile as porcelain. Getting broke, tired of being broke. How we acquire hope is the DJ skilling some dope, just to keep us afloat. Mind as deep as the boat, brain is a lethal weapon. We one need to elope. When I speak, I provoke. Walk in the room with my aura feeling like heavy smoke. Feel like when the levee broke under my Louis Vuitton, the semi-poke. Cause dirty cops will kill your boy, you ain't a joke. The cost of living, higher profits in private prison. These little girls are selling bodies just to pay tuition. These little niggas selling niggas just for bail condition. It's like the slavery never ended, where's the intermission? I wanna free the world, but I'm one man. A couple ones like me and make one plan. I wanna free the world, but I'm one man. A couple ones like me and one plan.
Islam Moors. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through His holy prophet, noble Jew Ali. Ameen. Islam. Peace and love, Moors.